You will learn. Resistance is futile. Your state of mind is irrelevant. And I've got some, hang on. I got some static here. There we go. There we go. That's better. Sorry about the static. Oops. Hang on. Hang on. Nope. Nope. It's coming back. It's coming back. All right. Come on. All right. Let's see here. See if I can fix it. So anyway, I think that's got most of it. Yeah. Okay. Today is Sunday, June the 2nd, 2019, and you're listening to Thunder Talk with your Thunder Bear of the Courage family. All right. Yes. I think the stack's gone away now. Sorry about that. Okay. So, anyway, just to let you know, I'm not feeling too well tonight. So, I'm going to do the best I can. And, if I have to take a break or something, I'm going to play Government Explained video. Normally I wouldn't do that just to take a break, but I am, like I said, I'm not feeling very well tonight. I will just try to get through this though. So, all right, tonight I'm going to talk about courts, and I've been helping some others with their court stuff as best I can. Anyway, the thing about it is that for me, if the courts are coming after me, it's like, oh, it's so easy, you know. I can just be man, and just, you know, a living man, and just take care of them, and they'll go away. It takes me like 10 minutes or less, you know, maybe 5. I can probably do it in 5 now, provided I already have the notices and stuff written out. Yeah. So if I had like arraignment today, yeah, I could just, you know, put some notices before the court, and then, you know, basically just walk away. But it's harder when I'm trying to protect someone else. I'm working with someone. I'm not going to say too much, obviously, because, you know, there's a lot of stuff I can't say right now. But I'm working with someone right now, and he is afraid. Okay, he's just terrified of them, and he can't do it by himself. Okay, at least not yet, anyway. And so the stuff that I would just normally do, like really quickly, yeah, he doesn't have the confidence yet. So I'm trying some new stuff. I'm trying some stuff on the administrative side as well as common law. And I'm still nailing some things down. So yeah, I can't say too much about that. But yeah, I showed him how to do notices. I showed him how to do claims and stuff, but he's still really new at it, you know. Also, I've got I'm helping someone else who has her husband in jail. Okay. And I'm not saying too much about that either, other than let's see, other than the basically the feds have them. Okay. And she asked me a question. Let me scroll down here. It's in my email. Right here. Okay. And just to remind me what the question was. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. The thing is that she's afraid the DA, okay, will maybe do something if she starts this process. Okay. And yeah, the DA can do all kinds of things. The prosecutor can do all kinds of things. Okay. But there is something that she has. She has a distinct advantage over the prosecutor. Her husband is her property. Okay. So if anyone causes harm, injury, or loss to or well, sorry, let me just told you I'm not feeling that well today, so my thoughts are a little bit muddled sometimes here. If anyone damages her property, which is her husband, they can be held financially liable. Okay. And it's kind of difficult to put this stuff in in text to her an email. But mostly because I really wasn't feeling that well yesterday either. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll feel better when I do my show. Yeah. She can put in a notice that basically says that it's like, hey, if anything happens to my property, you will be held liable. Okay. So that notice can go to the DA or the prosecutor, whoever the man or the woman is who's prosecuting the case. Now, of course, she can also put in the claim. There's nothing that's really, I don't think there's going to be anything really bad happening to her husband if she starts putting in claims like this, though. As a matter of fact, it's going to make them even more cautious. Okay. It's going to make them even more cautious. Now, general piece of advice for everyone. Okay. While I do have my tricks and I have my ways of doing things, yeah, I do things a little differently than Carl Lentz. Carl Lentz actually is the best. Okay. There's no doubt about that. All right. He's absolutely the best about doing this stuff. So, if you see any conflict between what he says and what I say, go with what he says. Okay. It could be I'm having an off day or something, and I might have misspoke or whatever. Just go with what he says. But yeah, I do have my little things that I do. I've got some really good seeking clarification stuff that he doesn't have. I have these nifty little tricks that he doesn't have because I just think differently from him. I really think in wild and crazy ways sometimes. It's just the way I am. I'm not really predictable in my thinking. At least I don't believe I am anyway. So, yeah, just, I just know this stuff works for me. It works wonderfully well for me. It's so hard. It's like 10 times harder to try to protect someone else, though, especially when they can't protect themselves. If it's coming out from me, it's like, oh, well, I've got all these little things that I can do and I can pull them out really quickly. And I don't have fear of them, fear of the ones that are coming after me. But it's just so much harder when when it's someone else and you're having to protect them, So anyway, I do want to say that the chat room is open. I see that NASA Lies About Everything has joined the chat session, and JT has joined, and I'm glad that they joined. I also have chat up on YouTube, and actually, I can actually monitor it a little bit there. So if anyone's listening to me on YouTube, if you need to ask any questions while I'm going through this, go ahead. So basically, I just made a whole bunch of notes today. about the stuff, and I want to go over these notes. I do want to talk about forged instruments. Okay. Their complaints are always forged instruments. Always. I've never seen a complaint. Well, probably always anyway. It depends. If it's an actual man or woman making the complaint, then it's not a forged instrument. Okay. But if it's any of the officers, it's always a forged instrument. If it's the DA's office, city's attorney's office, whatever, they're coming forward that complaint, it's always a forged instrument. And you can see that easily because on the very last page, okay, you'll see where it says, I swear under penalty of perjury that all this stuff is true, whatever, and they'll usually have a scribble mark, okay, and it actually is a scribble mark. It doesn't look anything like a symbol or a signature or anything. It's just a scribble mark and no name whatsoever. Okay. Warrants. I think all of their warrants are fraudulent. I think all of them are fraudulent. Forged instruments. It is. Even if they have a bond with them. I mean, unless they're coming after you in the common law of the land, and that's something else I want to talk about. Oh yeah, I went down to the law library, and if you look on my YouTube page, my YouTube page is Thunder Bear Courage. Okay, if you look on that, there's a couple of really super short videos that I did on Corpus Juris Secundum. Okay, and the first video is just showing you what it looks like, what the actual body of it looks like. Yeah, Corpus Juris, I show you that, and I show you Corpus Juris Secundum. And man, that thing just goes on and on and on. As in, they got these rows upon rows of Corpus Juris Secundum. Okay, Corpus Juris Secundum. Corpus means body. Like Corpus Christi, Texas is the body of Christ, Texas. Juris means law, and Secundum means second. Okay, and then you got Corpus Juris that came before that. I guess technically you can probably call that Corpus Juris Primus. Primus meaning Latin for first. That's where we get the word prime from. But yeah, so I show you that, and then the second video I just kind of show you a few pages in there. I did make another video, but I decided not to put it up there. It's a really short one, and I will probably, when I can, I will go back to the law library and do a really much better video on Corpus Juris Secundum. This is very interesting. I did have some still photographs as well, but maybe I shouldn't even try to bother looking at those right now. I wanted to kind of read some things off to you, but maybe not. The way the static comes up. So anyway, yeah, when I shift my phone around, the static comes in, I think. Let's see, on your documents, when you're doing your documents, don't put any lines on your documents. Okay, no lines whatsoever, because they can interpret those lines. If you box things off, they can interpret that as being a separate document. Even a line, they'll say, oh, well, everything above the line must be a separate document. No lines whatsoever on your documents. Okay. Habeas corpus, you don't use the phrase habeas corpus in any of your documents or anything. Okay, stick to the common law. All right. So habeas corpus thing and be like, I require to place the case, and then you describe the case number, okay? Uh, placed before competent jurisdiction in accordance with common law, okay? So that's really simple. Is when you do that, that basically kind of does a habeas corpus in a way, okay? Because what you're doing is saying, hey, you've got a case, you better bring it before a court of law, or a court of common law. Sorry, hang on a second. Sorry, I had to cough. Man. So anyway, you can do a claim of consequence. That's when you're evoking your own court. Remember, if they want you to take an oath in the courts, oaths are contracts. Okay, oaths are contracts. Now, as far as the United States Constitution goes, and the state constitution, any state constitution for that matter, those constitutions are contracts that just bind legal entities. Okay. You got to remember though that their courts are not constitutional courts. All right, they are not constitutional courts. Anyway, let's see. Okay, when they try to make you an offer, when the prosecution tries to make you an offer, do a counter offer. And like if they say, well, if you do this and whatever, we'll let you go or whatever. Okay. Well, you can do a counter offer of like, well, you know what? I can pay you $1 for each of those charges. That's my offer. And keep making offers like that. The very moment that they say no, I'm not taking your offer, and they don't give you any other offer, they don't do a counter offer to your offer, well, then that's basically it. They are in dishonor at that point. Okay, so you can do that. You can keep making counter offers. Okay, every time they make an offer, you make a counter offer, and and vice versa, and I'm sure they will get tired of it. And and of course in writing, always in writing. They say they got an offer. Okay, is it in writing? Let me see it. Let me see it. And then you give them an offer in writing. Everything you do, okay, most everything you do anyway, in writing. That's very, very important. Okay. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention that on that we have a Twitch account on FVRlive.com. So it's at the bottom of the listen schedule page. Okay, so if you are on Twitch, you might want to listen to LVRlive.com on Twitch. Okay. Let's see. A claim. You move your own court. You make a claim. Like I lowercase, comma, man, or living man. You put living man if you want. And then in 4 corner brackets, you put your name. Okay. Claim trespass on my property. That right there is a case. It's a 1-line case. You keep things as simple as possible. Okay. You need to be able to communicate. Now I've used this before. I got it from someone else. I can't remember who I got it from, but this kind of example, it's like, say if you say to a woman, I love you. It's nice, simple, short. it communicates the idea, right? But if you said to her, I love you because you're beautiful, then she can come right back at you and say, oh, well, if I got in a car accident tomorrow and got disfigured, then you wouldn't love me anymore. Okay, that's the way it is with these courts. They can do something because you added the words because you're beautiful. You had the original 3 words, I love you, and then you went and added 3 more words and you screwed yourself. Okay? You absolutely screwed yourself. Now, when if you happen to have one of those attorneys that was appointed to you because you screwed up, okay, when I say screwed up, I mean you screwed up, and somehow the court thinks that you have a contract there. Okay, an attorney says something like, "I thought we had a relationship." He's saying, "I thought we had a contract." Okay, that's legalese. Oh, and by the way, the Carl Lentz stuff, there's several videos that I highly recommend. One of them is Carl Lentz 488. It's Carl with a K and Lentz, Lentz. But if you look at my the description I have in this video, this is going out on my YouTube channel as well. It has a link to some documents, and one of those documents is my sword and shield method. Please get that. And in fact, I actually encourage you to get all the documents there. But yeah, get the sword and shield method. There's links to videos in there that are really, really super important. There's links to podcasts that are important. All right. There's all kinds of stuff in there. Okay, so let's see. Oh man. All right. One thing is you don't want to overthink anything. Okay. Try, like I said, you try to keep things as simple as possible. Remember, parents and wives. If you're a parent or a wife or a husband, okay, you have claim. If you're a husband, you have claim on your wife, and your wife, you have claim on your husband. You can easily claim them as property, okay, and wish and require them to be restored to you. That's your property, okay. You also, of course, if they're coming after you, you claim that legal person as yours. Okay, don't be afraid of it. That's your property. Hey, they're administrating your property without your express consent. Now, there's a lot of people that think, oh, well, the state created the birth certificate, so they created a name, right? Well, not really. Technically, what the state did was they facilitated the creation of the birth certificate, the corporate being. If you recall, your parents gave you the name, right? They gave you your name. They gave you your given name. And of course, there's the name of the family unit. And the state, they just took that and created a legal entity, a corporation, with the birth certificate, which is a letters patent. So, yeah, they're just, all he did was facilitate the creation. They did not actually create it. Your parents created it, and it's given to you. Okay. Now, of course, they'll say, if they're cornered, they might say, well, that Mrs. was on there. That means that the Mrs. is short for mistress, and therefore your mother was not married to your father, and therefore you're a bastard. You cannot inherit property. Yeah, I like to see them go ahead and make claims like that. Seriously. You say, one thing you say is, those are your rules, not mine. You know, as a sovereign, not a sovereign citizen, but a sovereign, you can do things like that. You can counter anything that they say, in essence, if you know how to make claims. Okay. If you know how to make claims, you can counter everything that they say. I'm going to go ahead and play a break here. Quick here. I know it's a little bit early, but I'm just going to go ahead and play it. Just need to get it up here. Okay. Be right back after this.
You're listening to Flat Earth Radio Live, and this is the Flat Earth Man, and all you're watching is a puppet show. All y'all watching is a puppet show. Yeah, the whole world's a stage. The whole world's a stage, man. You're listening to Flat Earth Radio Live.
Find yourself mastering the beat. Tune in and listen every Saturday for the Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music, our resident musician and spiritual brother in Christ Yahushua. The Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music.
Check this
Yes,
out.
it's message in the music time once again, and only Flat Earth Radio has got him. Saturday, the true Sabbath. Lend a knee and lend an ear. Listen every Saturday for the Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music.
Check this out.
Starting at 5 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast, 8 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast,
Check this out.
and 7 o'clock p.m. Central.
This out.
The Geocentric Eccentric.
The Geocentric.
West Blaze Music. Only Flat Earth Radio has got him. The Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music.
As bad as I wanna be. FlatEarthRadioLive.com. The Ferret.
Hey, John, you don't look so good. What's the matter?
Oh, I always feel tired and run down. You know, no energy. I think it's my poor diet or something.
Well, you know, John, I used to feel the same way. Couldn't sleep at night, couldn't stay awake in the daytime. That's when my doc told me that I had leaky gut syndrome.
Oh, wow. What'd you do? Surgery?
No way. I tried Tarsal. Tarsal is made with the finest, purest cream of tartar and MSM sulfur. And that's all. The fact that it contains all natural ingredients makes it especially desirable in today's toxic world. Tarsal is a white powder that you take every day with water or juice. Taken regularly, Tarsal can clear your leaky gut right up.
Tarsal, huh? So what else does Tarsal do?
Tarsal can help with acne, psoriasis, constipation, gallstones, heartburn, hemorrhoids, hypertension, IBS, and UTI.
Wow, that's quite a formula.
Yes, it is. And Tarsal also helps you to relax, repels insects, and can help you stop smoking.
So how do I find Tarsal?
That's easy. Just go to tarsal.com or call 619-363-1264. Try a bottle today and begin feeling normal again.
TARSUL.com. Try Tarsal today.
Asking these questions that no one ever asked before because we didn't even think about this. I think it's like God unlifting the veil, you know? He's starting to show people, look, you want to believe this? It's a lie. People are asking questions and truth is going to prevail. It's like, yeah, the biggest problem is that we're not able to eliminate questions, so therefore we can't assimilate. And, you know, people are asking questions and truth is going to prevail.
Join your host, Shelley Lewis, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Down the Rabbit Hole with Shelley Lewis.
Down the Rabbit Hole with host Shelley Lewis. Only here on Flat Earth Radio Live. The Ferret.
Yeah, back. Sorry. Sorry for the dead air. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I got a news story here. California waters down murder police bans so police can still get away with murder. Okay, now this is part of the law stuff I'm going to get into. I'm just going to read this article first, and then I'm going to go back and comment on it. The California State Assembly passed new legislation meant to deter police shootings. It's being hailed as the most stringent police violence reform in the country. The legislation, my friends, is crap. It will fix nothing. It will reform nothing. Unarmed black people will still be shot to death in California by the police. Their murderers will still go free. The only thing that will change is the offending officer will have to mouth slightly different words while justifying his or her decision to kill black people. The legislation changes the use of deadly force standard. Currently, deadly force is authorized when the officer reasonably perceives they should not kill a black person. Now they can only kill black people when it's necessary. Okay, from NBC, it would allow police to use deadly force only when it is necessary to defend against an imminent threat of death or serious injury to officers or bystanders. I award the biggest whoops to this functionally Semitic change. Yes, in a legal classroom, there is a gulf of difference between a reasonable standard and a necessary standard. The new standard goes in the direction of objectivity, but falls short. It tries to take us out of the head of a trigger-happy racist who reasonably in quotes here, confuses a 15-year-old black kid for the Incredible Hulk, and ask us to consider whether the Hulk was actively smashing people or passively working on his computer. It'll make for a fun question people will fail on the California bar. But on the street and in the courts, this change means functionally nothing. Cops will still shoot people when they feel threatened, in quotation marks, and they will still feel threatened by people based on the color of their skin. Then the cops will go to court and say, it was necessary for me to shoot that fleeing black kid in the back because he was knocking into other pedestrians as he tried to save his life from me. And all white juries will still acquit those cops on the theory keeping Negroes in line, a necessary standard. Negroes in line, period. A necessary standard still puts us in the head of what the cop thinks is necessary, as the law provides no definition of a necessary use of deadly force. The law didn't have to be this useless. The original version of the bill prohibited cops from shooting unless there were no reasonable alternatives. That's still not great, but at least you can imagine a checklist of alternatives a cop has to consider before firing, including non-lethal force or even letting a black person get away. But cops didn't like that standard, and so they were able to force the legislature to amend the language. In fact, you can tell that this law will do nothing to reform police behavior simply because the police did not object to its passage. The vote was 67-0. No Republican voted against this bill, and the police union didn't take a position on the bill. Folks, you're not doing anything about the police violence against black people if Republicans and cops aren't upset. Any real reforms to protect black lives would piss these two groups off. Their acquiescence is not a virtue of the bill. It is an indictment of the bill's effectiveness. This desire to get cops on board goes to a fundamental misapprehension of the problem. The bill's author, Shirley Weber, made a well-meaning statement that indirectly gets to the heart of the problem. Quote, this bill will only work because of the buy-in from the communities as well as from law enforcement. said Democratic Assemblywoman Shirley Welber of San Diego, who wrote the measure. Police officers should never take a human life when there are alternatives. AB 392 is about preventing unnecessary deaths. Yes, this bill will only work with buy-in from the cops, and that is why it won't work. You can't fix this problem with police buy-in. You can only fix this problem with police accountability and punishment. The police aren't going to like that. They're not supposed to like it. We're not supposed to care if they like it or not. The police are killing black people because it's easier for them to kill black people than risk their own lives figuring out if a black person should die. The only way to make them change that calculus is to make it clear to them that they are risking their own lives either way. When they are making the decision to fire, wait, and the suspect may get the drop on you. Shoot without being absolutely sure you have to, and the courts might put you away forever. That's got to be their choice, and they'll never stop shooting us. We have to recenter this debate around the life of the victim and not the apparatus of the state. I would go for straight up burden shifting. If the cop kills somebody, the victim is presumed innocent, and it's on the cop to show that the shooting was necessary by a preponderance of evidence. No more of this. I fear that this big black, I fear that his big black lips were coming to suck out my soul bullcrap. Prove that you had to shoot or go to freaking jail. Of course, white people will never go for that. No one. If a black person gets shot, most white people assume he was doing something wrong. Making that assumption literally illegal for a cop to make is just not what's going to happen. White people know that the cops are there to protect and serve them and don't want to make the job any harder than it already is. They'd rather place the burden on my children to prove they deserve to live than place the burden on the cops to prove my kids had to die. Failing my standard, we could at least expect cops to satisfy a checklist of other non-lethal options, or we could ask cops to justify every bullet fired. So often the victims of police violence might have survived the first shot, but are taken out when the cop, and sometimes his cop buddies, unload their entire clips. And failing all that, we could at least extend liability for the wrongful death we do prosecute to the entire unit. The cops know who among them are proverbial bad apples. They know which of their brethren has no business policing white communities, but they say nothing and do nothing. And when the shooting goes down, they hide behind their blue wall of silence. That's what criminal conspiracies do. And it seems to me that the very least we can do is start treating the police as such. One of these assholes shoots an unarmed kid, and the entire freaking department pays for it unless they cooperate with investigators. All of those proposals have teeth. All of those proposals would get cops protesting in the streets, promising to not work, as if I really want a cop who won't adhere to some measure of force restraint on the job in my neighborhood around my black children anyway. All of those proposals would lose Republican support. This California bill won't help a damn thing. That's why it passes so easily. They might as well slap an All Lives Matter sticker on it and issue every black teenager a can of invisibility spray for all the good it will do. Okay. Now, I'm going to comment on some of this stuff here. Okay. Okay, it says white people know that the cops are there to protect and serve them. No, actually they are not. Okay. They are not there to protect and serve anyone except what the legal system calls the public. Okay. Which is not you. It's not me. Okay. It's not any of us. It's the shareholders. That's who it is, the shareholders. And these corporations, like the city of San Diego is a corporation. Okay. The owners of the corporations. The United States is a corporation. At least one of them is. Actually, technically, maybe all of them, but whatever. Unless you're using it as a geographical reference, then I can let that one slide. Yeah. Let's see. He's absolutely right that the entire police department should be held accountable. Absolutely right. And he's right comparing them to a group of crooks, basically, a criminal syndicate. That's exactly what they are. They're a criminal syndicate. Now, let me step away from this for a moment and talk about something I want to talk about tonight. I have this theory. Okay. It's just, well, actually, maybe more speculation than theory. So I speculate that because this world is ruled over by evil ones, and I'm pretty sure the demons exist, whatever demons are, I don't really know. Just saying they're demons isn't really good enough for me, but I don't have very much data, you know. You could say lower frequency entities, maybe, whatever. I'm thinking that because these entities exist and because the powers that be, the ones that kind of control things and run the world, they worship these entities and they want to feed the entities, and the entities feed off of fear and anger and hatred and all this lower vibrational stuff. This might be why they instructed the police to go out and violate rights. Okay. Which they did. I know they did for New York City. New York City cops were told explicitly, you go out there and violate rights. I think maybe they might be trying to get as much anger and hatred up as possible, and fear as well, so they can feed the demons. But that's just speculation. I really don't know. Okay, I just don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. But, you know, I don't know. I'm just doing the best I can, trying to figure this out. You know, it's like, well, it could be that they're just all psychopaths. I don't know. There's situational psychopathy. You know, when you put a human being in certain situations, sometimes they will exhibit psychopathy. Okay. When they have authority telling them to do something, for example. Someone in a lab coat, someone with a badge, someone who's wearing a dress like a judge. Yeah, I know that dress is actually priestly garments. Yeah, I know that. But anyway, yeah, it's a type of insanity. Oh, someone in authority is telling me to do something. You know, I was listening to one of Carl Lentz's podcasts today, and he was talking about, and I heard this before, by the way, but I was going over some old podcasts. Anyway, he was talking about how he saw a video on YouTube, which is probably taken down by now, where this old man was in court, and the judge instructed the bailiff to forcibly remove the old man. And the old man basically said, "Hey, you know, I can take everything away that you own. I can sue you if you put your hands on me. I can sue you and take away everything that you own." And deputy, with the bailiff, whatever, turns to the judge and says, "Is that true? Can he do that?" The judge remains silent, and the bailiff asks him again, asks the judge again. I think he asked him like 3 times, and the judge just remains silent. And the bailiff turns back to the old man and says, "You're on your own," and he walks away. Just because the judge tells you to do something doesn't mean you have to do it. That goes for all the. It's the same thing as what they call. I think they call the Nuremberg defense. Oh well, we executed these men, women, whatever, because Hitler told us. Because our bosses told us to do it, and it didn't work at the Nuremberg trials. It did not work. Look up the Nuremberg trials. Okay. You can see it doesn't work. These men, these soldiers, were still held accountable for their war crimes, for their crimes, period. Actually, war is a crime. Okay. Unless you're protecting yourself, if there's invaders coming in, you're protecting, your home, your neighborhood, your city. Okay, fine. You're not committing a crime. Whoever is invading is committing a crime. Okay. But yeah, war itself definitely is a crime. That's all there is to it. Okay. So getting back to this other thing here. Oh yeah, he called it a criminal conspiracy. In the blue wall of silence and stuff. He's talking about the cops. Criminal conspiracy. Yes. So is the bar. The bar is a criminal conspiracy too. Oh, crap. I just lost the... Oh, there it goes. The article vanished on me for a second. Okay, so anyway. Yeah, it's not just black people, of course. But they do get the brunt of it. They do get murdered the most. Okay. So, I cannot find fault with this guy, just talking about black peoples. Actually. Okay. Peoples, plural. Yeah. It's just, they do get the brunt of it. There's no doubt about that. Now, of course, if a cop does give you an order, just ask if that's an order. Okay. If it's an order, and let's say you don't want to do the order. So let's say the cop says, "Well, I need you to turn around and place your hands on that car." Okay. You just say, "Hey, is that an order?" And the cop says, "Yes." Oh, okay. Well, I would be more than happy to fulfill that order if you give me $500 up front and $50,000 in 30 days. Payable, due in 30 days. See what he says. If he still keeps barking orders and says, "No, I'm not going to do that." Oh, okay. Well, the cop is in dishonor. Okay, there is nowhere in no law or anything that says that one man, whatever, dressed up in any kind of costume like the cops are, can give an order to another man without compensation. And these judges know that too. The judges know that. The cops may not know that. Okay. So, you just like, okay, you just do it. It's like, well, I still require compensation, but you got a gun. Okay. Or you could just simply say, "Is that an order?" And they say it's order. Okay. That's one order. I'm placing my hands on the car. You could do that, which is probably the smarter thing to do. Yeah. Because the cops aren't going to know. The vast majority of them aren't going to know. So yeah, you can fulfill that order and just take care of it in court. And the great thing about the cops doing that is, if you want, you can simply say, oh, well, that cop was an agent of, let's say, city of San Diego, for example. So therefore, it's the city of San Diego that placed the order. And it's great if you have some kind of video evidence, some kind of evidence. But yeah, you can ask the cop, hey, did you give me this order? In court. Did you order me to do this? And the cop's going to say yes. That's the great thing about not giving them a heads up, and saying, oh, well, I'm going to charge you, X number of dollars or whatever. Is when you get to court, you can get the cop to basically incriminate himself. Judges, they give you an order. Oh, great. Put it in writing. Sign it. Love it. And then, you can charge something up front. If you really don't want to do that, if you don't want to carry out the order, like say if they order you to be under house arrest or whatever. Or God, I'm blanking out on the word for some reason. Parole, or whatever. They order you on parole or something. I don't know, whatever it is. You say, give me such and such money up front, and then in 30 days, $50,000 is due, $1 million is due, or whatever. However you want to do it. Once you have that order in your hand, yeah, okay, great. The order's been placed. There are these things called maxims of law. You look them up, okay? Or if you want, those documents. In those documents, I have maxims of law, okay? So go to the link in those for those documents. All right, getting back to this article here. Let's see here. You know what? Let's get off that article. Screw it. Let's see here. California lawyers could see annual bar fees hiked by 40%. That's cool. Look, the bar is a guild in essence. Okay, it's a trade union. That's what it is. It's a trade union. I would like to see the hike go so far that they can't even afford to be a member. Let me explain to you what courts are. Okay, what courtrooms, not courtrooms, I'm sorry, courthouses are. Courthouses are flea markets. Okay, really, they're flea markets. In essence, you know how in a flea market, let's see, swap meet's another name for a flea market. Okay, so if you're wanting to sell something at a flea market, you go to whoever owns a flea market and you pay them a certain amount of money, and you put a stall in, and then you get business coming in, right? That's basically what courthouses are. Okay. Let's see, what is it? The county commissioner runs the county courthouses. Okay. So that's, if you need a courtroom, you can go to the county commissioner and say, well, the bar has the courts, for, this number of hours in a given day, and we would like to move a court of record. So we need the courthouse or courtroom for this amount of time when the bar is not present. Because we need to be able to move a court of record. And by the way, that's the court of record under the law of the land. Law of the land is recognized in Corpus Juris Secundum. Okay. I'm going to have to save reading off the Corpus Juris Secundum for next week. I do apologize for that. I was going to do it this week. I was going to read some things from the Corpus Juris Secundum, but man, I just do not feel good right now. Oh God. So yeah. You can do that. You know, you can go and and you say, well, yeah, we'll provide the court reporter, we'll provide the jury, we'll see the jury or whatever it is, or magistrate, whatever you got. Okay. So, yeah, you can do that. And that's what the courthouse is just, that's all the courthouse is. You know, it's just like a flea market. So, anyway, another story. I'm just going to go to the news right now. Female fruit bats will exchange food for sex, study says. Actually, it should say sex for food. Okay, not food for sex. God, they're writing. You know, writing on news stories is so damn lazy now. Oh God, it should read female fruit bats will exchange sex for food, not food for sex, because they're giving the sex and the male fruit bats are giving the food. See that's the way that works. Yeah. Of course, they're mammals, and yeah, there you go, prostitution. You know, prostitution in the animal kingdom. All right. So anyway, speaking of prostitution, sex work to be decriminalized in Mexico City in bid to cut trafficking. I mean, sex trafficking. Well, yeah, of course it's going to cut sex trafficking. If you decriminalize, okay, which is not really criminal anyway, it's just illegal, okay? But yeah, if you decriminalize it, it makes it a business, right? Okay, you're making it an open, honest business out of it. If it's open, honest business, that means that any sex worker who's being forced into it has a much greater chance of going and getting help. Saying, hey, you know, I got this pimp forcing me to do this. Help me out. You know? Yeah, I mean, really, it's safety. It's a matter of safety and really justice. Okay. And by the way, in Corpus Juris Secundum, it talks about attorneys having a duty to justice. Just to let you know, that duty is in there. Let me do the other one here. Okay, Australia's highest paid sex worker says she wants to retire. By the way, I'm reading all this off of my main page. I started to copy some stories over to my Lightning Post page on Facebook, but I just stopped. I just didn't feel up to it. So if you want to read all the news stories that I've got, go over to my main Thunder Bear Courage page on Facebook. Anyway, Australia's highest paid sex worker says she wants to retire, and what she wants to do is she wants to become a therapist. She's learned a lot being a sex worker, you know. So she wants to put all that, and she was really, really highly paid, by the way. It's a step down in the money she'll be getting. Okay. So, you know, they're human beings, in case you were thinking otherwise. Scientists develops gel-based delivery system for stem cell derived factors. If you're interested in that, you can look that up. I've got to do a science show one of these days. Science and medicine. Intranasal stem cell therapy restores smell in mice. Okay, that is a sense of smell in mice. Yeah, and that's kind of a big thing, by the way. I just don't want to go into it tonight. I'm sorry, I just don't feel up to it. Lawyer disbarred for stealing wine, a lot of wine. And yeah, that's kind of humorous thing there. Let's see. Energy drinks can mess up your heart rhythm, but caffeine isn't the culprit. Okay. So if you're interested in that, yeah, I stay away from those energy drinks. Gut bacteria transfer may cut 50% of autism symptoms. So that should tell you a little something about autism. Okay. Really, if gut bacteria transfer could cut 50% of the symptoms, that definitely should tell you something, you know, about diet and stuff like that related to autism. Of course, there's also the poisons, you know, like the vaccines and stuff. Purdue recalls nearly 16 tons of ready-to-eat chicken products. So if you have any Purdue chicken products, you might want to check into that. Tourist infected by brain invading parasite after eating slug on a dare in Hawaii. Oh God. Okay, so if he dies, he's going to be given a Darwin Award probably. You know, unless he already has kids. Yeah. Stupid. Anyway, Hawaii is of course making announcements to, it's like, wash your fruits and vegetables if they have any slugs on them. You know, you gotta be careful about that, because the slugs eat rat poop and the rats will eat the slugs, and it's a vicious cycle of those parasites. Justice Department is reportedly looking into an antitrust investigation into Google. Actually, they're just thinking about it right now. But yeah, there's definitely enough there for them to do antitrust on them. One moment, please. Sorry, my throat is like really, really raw right now. It's hard for me to speak. Sex lies and surveillance. Something's wrong with the war on sex trafficking. Definitely. If you're interested in that story, go up there and look at it. If you're a generalist at work, the future is brighter than you think. That's cool because I'm a generalist. Gene sequencing could ensure you get the kind of weed you paid for. So for those of you who buy marijuana, there's something to look forward to. A verification test, I suppose. Big oil operative gets busted secretly undermining electric cars. It's Chevron retirees to oppose. Yeah. She asked Chevron retirees to oppose pro-EV legislation. Okay. Scammed. U.S. military spent $20 million on fake gear made in China. It's because it was through a third party. These kinetic pants from Ministry of Supply use body heat to stay smooth and wrinkle-free. Facebook knows when someone posts your nudes, but won't tell you. Police said a trooper collapsed from an incidental overdose. Now they're saying nothing. Yeah, supposedly he handled some drugs, and it did skin contact or something, but you know, they're saying when there's drugs involved, they're going to start using respirators and gloves and stuff like that. Columbus Day is no longer going to be celebrated in Vermont. They're going to make it Indigenous Peoples Day. So that's a good thing. Travelers left 1 million in loose change at TSA checkpoints last year. 6 unexpected places hackers can find your information. So you might want to click on that story. It's from mentalfloss.com. 6 ways to identify if you're using fraudulent Wi-Fi. Cops strip search 6 kids because their mom took too long to buy muffins. Yeah, believe it or not, that happened. This mom was in a store and she took too long to buy muffins. And they said the kids were in the car. In the car, it was only like 67 degrees out, whatever. And there's a whole bunch of, 6 kids in the car. And the thing is, while the cops had stopped her and everything, well, they left the kids in the car. So evidently, the kids being in the car wasn't really the problem. Yeah. She just took too long buying the muffins for the kids. All right. Cop indicted after horrifying video shows him beating homeless woman with baton. Let's see. Oregon passes bill allowing doctors to starve mentally ill patients to death. That's not good. They're stupid laws, I swear. Let's see. Girl severely disabled after flu jab wins settlement. Okay. In other words, this girl that was severely disabled after the flu jab, they win the settlement. So they're winning. They won a court. Won at court. So yeah. Let's see. Let's see. There's a movie called The Fifth Estate. I got the official trailer up here, and it's about Julian Assange, okay, or Assange, however you pronounce his name. I've heard it pronounced different ways, and it looks interesting. It definitely looks interesting. So you might want to check out the trailer. Let's see. I have some links to some YouTube videos by Carl Lentz here. Let's see. Hang on 1 second here. Let me get back up to this other thing. I've got at the very top of my page, at least how I'm seeing it anyway. There's a photograph of Florida, supposedly from the ISS, and what I love is they call it the Imaginary Space Station, ISS, Imaginary Space Station. And yeah, there's so much curvature here that Florida looks like it's taking up. Well, it takes about 1/4 of the photograph, but if you extrapolate the rest of the globe Earth from that, it's probably like 1/8. So 1/8 or 1/4, whatever. Yeah. Florida's not that big. They keep doing this crap, seriously, and they keep saying I don't know why they keep thinking that peoples are going to buy it for some reason. They have this huge amount of artificial curvature, It's just like, wait, come on, really? Oh, whatever. Yeah, so anyway, I want to go, damn it. I want to do a little flat earth stuff too. Oh God, I just do not feel well. You know what I'm going to do? I hope you don't mind. I'm going to play that government thing for you. I am just not feeling well at all. Oh God. Hang on 1 second here. I'm sorry about this. I got this really big headache here. I'm going to play this and I'll be right back.
Find yourself mastering the beach. Tune in and listen every Saturday for the Geocentric Eccentric with Wes Blaze Music. Our resident musician and spiritual brother in Christ Yahweh. The Geocentric Eccentric with Wes Blaze Music.
Check this
Yes,
out,
it's vested in the music time once again, and only Flat Earth Radio has guided. Saturday, the true Sabbath. Lend a knee and lend an ear. Listen.
Hang on a second. there's. Oh, never mind. Hang on. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. I'm having some technical issues here. Am I still on? Yeah, I'm still broadcasting, I think. Hang on. Yeah, still broadcasting. Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Let me see if this is. One moment. Oh, I know what this. I know what it is. Hang on one moment here. I think. No. Wait. Okay. Hold on. Let me try this again.
No energy. I think it's my poor diet or something.
I've traveled across.
Well, you know, John, I used to feel the same way. Couldn't sleep at night, couldn't stay awake in the daytime. That's when my doc told me that I had leaky gut syndrome.
Oh, wow. What'd you do? Surgery?
No way. I tried Tarsal.
Answers yes and
I know what's going on. One moment. Sorry, folks. Technical issues. It's the break is playing at the same time on my phone. I don't know why it's playing, but it is. Hang on, let me stop it here. And let me see if I can hear it. Yeah. Okay. It's not doing anything. Let me see if I can get back to the other thing. God. I am just sweating here. Okay, this should work now. I am so sorry about that. Let me just plug this back in. I hope this works. All right.
Hey, an alien. Yes, I've traveled across space to check on the progress of your species. Cool. Shall I take you to our leader? Your what? Our leader, the guy in charge. The guy in charge of what? Well, in charge of everything. You have one guy in charge of everything? No, he's in charge of government. What is government? Well, government makes the rules for us. It tells us what we can do and what we can't do. So is government really smart? They come up with wise rules for you to follow? Well, mostly, but some of its rules are really stupid. Do you disregard those rules? No, we have to follow the rules, even if they are stupid or we disagree with them. Government punishes anyone who disobeys the rules. So you are slaves to government? No, it's not like that at all. Government works for us, the people. It serves us. We're the boss. It tells you what to do, and it punishes you with violence if you disobey it, and yet you're its boss? Yeah. But there are some things government does that you don't like. Well, yeah, not everything government does is popular, like spending on wars, for example. What is a war? It's when government basically spends the people's money on weapons and soldiers and then sends them over to the other side of the world to kill a bunch of people over there and destroy their country. I don't like it that government does this. Well, I can see why you might not like that. Have you humans reached the stage where you generally consider stealing, enslaving, and killing each other to be bad things? Oh yeah, we know that. Don't steal, don't attack, don't assault. But you give money to government and they use it to kill people. Well, yeah. But government does good things with tax money as well. Why don't you stop paying for the things you don't like and only pay for the good things it does? No, we can't do that. You can't just decide to stop paying taxes because the rules say that everyone has to pay taxes. But the rules come from government though, don't they? Yeah. So government made a rule which says that everyone has to pay them money. So everyone pays taxes because if they didn't, government would punish them using violence? Well, yes, but most people don't mind paying taxes. Most people feel obligated to pay taxes and obey government laws because it's for the good of society. Society needs government, and that means we all have to pay taxes. So just to make sure I've got this straight, government makes the rules and you feel obligated to follow the rules, even the ones you don't like, and it tells you what
Tarsal is made with the finest, purest cream of tartar and MSM sulfur. And that's all. The fact that it contains all natural ingredients.
Oh, crap. Sorry. Something's going wrong. Really wrong. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know why it came up like that. It just... Oh, well. I have to figure it out. I'll figure it out later. I hope you... Oh, you got something out of that thing. Jesus. I swear, that just... It just started up. The break just started playing. I don't know why. It could be... I don't know. I have to figure it out. Anyway, it gave me a little bit of a break. Oh my. All right, so getting back to Flat Earth. Yeah, the SpaceX thing. That should tell you right there, okay, that NASA lies. I mean, come on. You go and talk to any physicist, all right, and you ask them, hey, do you really think that Tesla put a car up into space? Because wouldn't that car, which is supposed to be exposed to space now, is not actually encapsulated in anything. It's supposed to be free floating in space. Don't you think that car would basically be melted? Now, of course, any physicist that believes in mainstream, space, whatever, mainstream interpretation of space is, they're going to say, well, yeah, it should be, The thing is, it's not. There should be fluid leaking out of it. That car was supposedly taken right off the lot, and the only thing that was done to it was they removed the rearview mirror. Okay. They removed the rearview mirror. And why? Because they don't want you to see that car is in a freaking studio. That's why. Notice none of the cameras are actually looking at each other. None of the cameras are in the field of view of the other cameras. And NASA oversaw the project. The elongated muskrat, Elon Musk, testified before Congress saying that NASA was overseeing the project. So, are you going to try to make the argument that that NASA got bamboozled? I mean, come on, seriously? Yeah. Plus, show me the math that says that you can lift a car like that up into space. Really? Using one of those rockets like that. Sorry, doesn't work. It's too much weight. There's way too much weight. it's not going to work. Okay. So anyway, that's one thing. Another thing, the moon, the brightness of the moon, as we see it, and they say that according to NASA, the moon is roughly 238,000 miles away. Okay, plus or minus about 1,000 miles because of the so-called orbit around Earth. Yeah, that moon is like really, really bright, isn't it? When you're seeing a full moon at night. Yeah, how much brighter would it be for the astronauts when they're approaching it? Go ask a physicist to do the calculations. He can, someone who's in optics, it is. Okay, a physicist who's in optics. He or she can take a reading of the luminosity of a full moon and then do a calculation. That moon would have to be like so damn bright that the astronauts wouldn't be able to see a damn thing. The light would be overwhelming because you have, oh God, man, I'm blanking out on it. Inverse square law applies light. So anyway, jeez. Same thing with radio signals. Okay. Radio transmissions, television transmissions from the moon. Sorry, but their transmitter, if they even had a transmitter there, because it was all done on a soundstage. But let's assume that they actually were on the moon and the moon was actually 238,000 miles away. What kind of transmitter would you need? Well, there are formulas available that tell you how much power you have to have being put out to reach a certain given distance. Of course, there's also photos of the Earth, and the big thing, the really big thing, is what's missing. How many photos? There should be thousands upon thousands of photos of the Earth. But what do we have? How many official photographs are there that exist from NASA? They say they're official photographs, that there's a camera out there pointing at the Earth. Not that many. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say there's a 100. There's not. I think there's like 3 or 5 or something. But let's just say 100. That's still too few. Okay, it's still too few. There should be a lot more than that. There should be video. Okay, or actually film. Okay, like a movie film. You ever seen a movie film of the Earth? Seriously, that's what's lacking. That's what's missing. Look at what's missing. That tells you far more sometimes than what they actually say. It's what they don't say. Hey, where's that film? Shouldn't there be a film of, looking back at the Earth, and as fast as the Earth is supposed to rotate in their model? What, 1,000 miles at the equator? You should see that thing spinning. All right? Yeah. Like when they were, supposedly filming it on the way to the moon in their space capsule. Yeah. Not moving at all. Weather patterns not moving at all. Nothing moving. Yeah. Also, stars. Was that seen from the moon? Where are the stars at? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some of the astronauts say, "Oh, you're not going to be able to see stars from the moon." Some scientists and other astronauts say, "Oh yeah, you'll be able to see stars." when are they going to get their stories straight? You have all these astronauts that have conflicting stories. If this was a court, their testimony would have to be thrown out. Okay. Great. It's actually about time for me to play the break. God. Oh man, I just feel so damn awful. I'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Flat Earth Radio Live, and this is the Flat Earth Man, and all you're watching is a puppet show. All y'all watching is a puppet show. Yeah, the whole world's a stage. The whole world's a stage, man. You're listening to Flat Earth Radio Live.
Find yourself mastering the beach. Tune in and listen every Saturday for the Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music, our resident musician and spiritual brother in Christ Yahushua. The Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music.
Check this
Yes,
out.
its message in the music time once again, and only Flat Earth Radio has got him. Saturday, the true Sabbath. Lend a knee and lend an ear. Listen every Saturday for the Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music.
Check this out.
Starting at 5 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast, 8 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast,
Check this out.
and 7 o'clock p.m. Central.
This out.
The Geocentric Eccentric.
The Geocentric.
With West Blaze Music. Only Flat Earth Radio has got him. The Geocentric Eccentric with West Blaze Music.
As bad as I wanna be. FlatEarthRadioLive.com. The Ferret.
Hey, John, you don't look so good. What's the matter?
Oh, I always feel tired and run down. You know, no energy. I think it's my poor diet or something.
Well, you know, John, I used to feel the same way. Couldn't sleep at night, couldn't stay awake in the daytime. That's when my doc told me that I had leaky gut syndrome.
Oh, wow. What'd you do? Surgery?
No way. I tried Tarsal. Tarsal is made with the finest, purest cream of tartar and MSM sulfur. And that's all. The fact that it contains all natural ingredients makes it especially desirable in today's toxic world. Tarsal is a white powder that you take every day with water or juice. Taken regularly, Tarsal can clear your leaky gut right up.
Tarsal, huh? So what else does Tarsal do?
Tarsal can help with acne, psoriasis, constipation, gallstones, heartburn, hemorrhoids, hypertension, IBS, and UTI.
Wow, that's quite a formula.
Yes, it is. And Tarsal also helps you to relax, repels insects, and can help you stop smoking.
So how do I find Tarsal?
That's easy. Just go to tarsal.com or call 619-363-1264. Try a bottle today and begin feeling normal again.
TARSUL.com. Try Tarsal today.
Asking these questions that no one ever asked before because we didn't even think about this. I think it's like God's unlifting the veil, you know? He's starting to show people, look, you want to believe this? It's a lie. People are asking questions and truth is going to prevail. It's like, yeah, the biggest problem is that we're not able to eliminate questions, so therefore we can't assimilate. And, you know, people are asking questions and truth is going to prevail.
Join your host, Shelley Lewis, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Down the Rabbit Hole with Shelley Lewis.
Down the Rabbit Hole with host Shelley Lewis. Only here on Flat Earth Radio Live. The Ferret.
I'm back. All right. One moment, please. Just be patient here. I need to look for something here. I'm trying not to throw up. Is what I'm trying not to do. Hang on one moment. Let's see. All right, I found something else that I know I can play. I'll be right back after this.
What do you desire? What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose, I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Or another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I said, do you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually you can eventually become a master of it. The only way to become a master of something is to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you can be interested in, you'll find others in. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like, doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow in the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children, we're educating them to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing. So it's all retch and no vomit. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire? Well, when we answer that question in a naive way, we figure out that we want to desire, what we want is to control everything. To create girls that don't grow old, apples that don't rot, clothes that never wear out, conveyances that get from one place to another instantly so we don't have to wait, power available to do anything that you could conceive and do it just instantly like that, to get this funny technological omnipotence. But if you take time out to think about that and really go into it with your full strength of imagination and find out whether that's where you want to be, you will soon see that's not what you want. Because the moment you have a situation where you are really in control of things, that is to say, in which the future is almost completely predictable. A completely predictable future is already the past. You've had it. That's not what you want. You want a surprise. You don't know what that's going to be, because obviously it wouldn't be a surprise if you did. You want a pleasant surprise. But like you say, what sort of a surprise would be pleasant? And you can't really answer that. Because you know, if there are to be such things as pleasant surprises, there must also be unpleasant surprises. There must be rude shocks. So you're like somebody taking one of those wishing well boxes, tubs, where you fish in and you bring out a package. And you don't know whether you've got a dead rat in it or a new camera. And that's the way, that seems to be the thing that really excites people. But quite certainly there comes out of this inquiry a feeling of real disillusionment with the ideal of power. To be in power, to be in control, is not something that any sensible person wants. People are frustrated in love. If you're jilted, there's a natural tendency in a human being to seek power as a substitute. And that's a very negative thing. It's like having a bad temper. To seek power after you're frustrated in love, you should try and get back on the love beam. Because nobody wants power. Now you may say that's shirking responsibility. That if you were a really responsible person, you would go out for power and try to use power to the best possible advantage for the benefit of all. All right, what would be the benefit of all? Ask them, what do you want me to do with this power? I'm dictator. What would you like me to do? Well, nobody knows, because they haven't thought it through. They think of all sorts of short-range things, and they are largely conflicting and confusing, because they're not well thought out. But again, when it finally comes down to it, nobody wants to be God.
Okay, back. Boy, that was appropriate. I hope I'm back. Yeah, there we go. Oh man. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go over some more news stories that I didn't cover before. Just the titles basically here. CPS forces couple to have C-section to kidnap baby after falsely accusing them of terrorism. So, yeah, that goes on. Yeah, it's just, the CPS, I mean, jeez. It's Child Protective Services. They're just kidnappers, and they put kids into these little pedophile networks, Anyway, cop guilty on multiple charges of repeatedly raping 5-year-old girl will not go to jail. Let's see here. I've got a link to a video on YouTube. Is Starfleet evil? Are they baddies? That's a cool little video. Also, another link to another YouTube video. What the media won't tell you about Iran. Yeah. They just... what can I say? I mean, they're just... The mainstream media beats the drums of war, Suspected unexploded bomb turns out to be giant Christmas bauble. Christmas ornament. That's another story. Somebody owes me lunch. Cops bet a sandwich that a woman would kill herself, then let her do it. Yeah. Psychopaths, another link to a YouTube video. What 40,000 videos tell us about the trending tab? Yeah, it's rigged. Of course it's rigged. It's just more YouTube censorship. 60-inch TV for less than $1 repaired. They repaired a 60-inch TV for less than $1. There's a video on that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Video shows cop walk up to innocent retired 63-year-old veteran, attack and arrest him for no reason. Officer commits suicide after making video sexually assaulting a child in his patrol car. Yeah. Um, okay, well, I think the rest I've probably... Okay, well, I've got a link to a video in the no hide laws of so it's something there. No hide laws are made public laws, by the way. So maybe I'll go into that next week about what public laws are and stuff like that. Oh no, this is interesting. I got a link to Pinky and the Brain theme, postmodern jukebox, and in it has the two original voices of Pinky and the Brain. So if you're a fan of Pinky and the Brain cartoons, you might want to check this out. Let's see. U.S. soldiers accused of raping boys in front of their mothers at the infamous Abu Ghraib prison. Woman loses 10 years of memories due to enormous poop. Yeah. She's straining too much. And that's more reason why you have to make sure you get plenty of water, you know, plenty of liquids. Watching Spider-Man may reduce arachnophobia. That's fear of spiders. Scientists have designed tiny robots that can clean your teeth. Vets say they saved a dog's life using an experimental fish skin graft. Okay, in other words, they're using fish skin to graft onto the dog's burns. Mayor gives out Viagra to citizens. Start having sex or the school gets it. In other words, because their school is dependent on tax money, and the tax money is dependent on how many how many kids are attending the schools. Yeah, and and here you got people saying the earth is overpopulation. You know, like, come on, there's lots of places around the earth, around this flat earth of ours, where they're having trouble keeping up the local population. When you have a population that's a little more affluent, and they have more money, better education, they have a tendency to have fewer kids. You know, India's monkeys keep killing people, so scientists are trying radical new sterilization strategies, which are kind of backfiring on them. Yeah, so that was an interesting story. Class action lawsuit accuses Apple of intentionally and unlawfully sharing iTunes listening data. Man's love of licorice tea landed him in the emergency room. Yeah, licorice has a little something that kind of pumps up your blood pressure. And if you're like, a teenager or whatever, you can actually eat quite a bit of licorice and it won't affect you. But if you're older and you have higher blood pressure, you need to be careful of licorice. Okay. It takes quite a bit of licorice candy to pump up the blood pressure, but yeah, it can happen. Why you should never charge your phone at the airport? Yeah, sometimes they have these fake outlets or whatever, or rigged chargers, and it's like, oh well, someone left their charger. Well, it may have a little thing in it that allows the hacker to hack into your phone while you're charging it. So you'll be careful about that. Horrifying video shows cops taser pepper spray unarmed dad to death for walking in road. Yeah, this guy was kind of out of it, or I guess he was drunk or on drugs or something. He's walking in the road, And the cops, of course, they like using excessive force, and they did, and they killed him. Cop loses it when citizen catches him breaking the law as the cop was speeding. Yeah, that happened. I saw a sheriff's deputy do that once back when I had a car, and it was on Highway 10 going to Houston, and it's like a really long stretch, of highway. And this cop just, he blew past me, and he's doing 80. He didn't have his lights on. There's no emergency or anything. So yeah. Anyway, crazed cop holds man at gunpoint for not leaving gas station fast enough. Gotta get in and do your business, huh? Yeah, these cops will harass you or whatever. Scientists prove DNA can be reprogrammed by our own words. Yeah. There's I'm pretty sure I shared a video. I'm not sure where it's at. It's on my main page someplace about intentions. And it's the rice experiment. And it shows you how intentions and words can affect living things. And they also done that with water crystals and stuff like that. The human body is mostly water, or bags of mostly water, as they said in what was that movie? It was a parody movie with Tim something. He played Tim the Toolman Teller. God. Anyway, God, I really love that movie, and now I can't even think of the name of it. I have got such a headache. But anyway, that's what that's from. Anyway, your words can reprogram your genetic code, essentially. And your vibrations can reprogram your genetic code. That's what the words influence the vibrations. Let's see. There's this guy who says, I didn't think of Iraqis as humans. It says U.S. soldier who raped 14-year-old girl before killing her and her family. Okay. This has been going on for quite a long time in history, by the way. It used to be a lot worse than it is now. Okay. Dehumanizing or demonizing the enemy. It happens. It just happens. And, you're succumbing to propaganda and stuff. It is what it is. This guy says, I'm sorry, I'll leave. An axe-wielding robber one-upped by store clerk's handgun. So in other words, this robber came in with an axe, and the store clerk just pulled out a gun. And the robber said, I'm out of here. That reminds me of what I wanted to say about courts. If you have all this knowledge, the stuff that I have, Carl Lentz has, whatever. You can. Well, there's two different metaphors I wanted to use. One, you remember in Crocodile Dundee 2, I think it was, where he went to New York. Crocodile Dundee went to New York, and this guy tried to mug him, and this guy had this little bitty knife, right? And he says, hand over your money or whatever, your wallet or everything. And Crocodile Dundee says, well, what's that? And he points to the guy's knife, and he says, this is a knife. And Crocodile Dundee says, that's not a knife. A knife. He says, that's not a knife. And he pulls out his big ass knife. He says, no, this is a knife. And of course, the guy takes off running, right? Well, the knowledge that you have from like Carl Lentz or my stuff in court, it's kind of like that. It's like the opposition has this little bitty knife they're threatening you with. And you got this big old common law knife. You know, that's the attitude that you got to have, kind of, anyway. That it's like, don't worry about it. You've got this big old knife. They're not going to come at you with that little bitty pen knife or whatever it is, you know. Or they do. It's like, well, just show them your knife. You know, show them the common law. All right. Of course, you can use another analogy like poker players. You know, you've got like a royal flush or whatever, and they've got two fives. You know, a pair of fives. That's all they got. Like, screw it. You know, you got it. So don't be nervous, okay? Or at least try not to. This is from Newsweek.com. We have set up a system to sex traffic American children. Now, that's weird that Newsweek.com actually comes out with that, because Newsweek is a mainstream thing. So I haven't actually seen the article itself. I haven't read it. But it is talking about how it's most of the kids come from foster care system that are sex trafficked, you know, and they're victims of sex trafficking. So yeah, I guess the mainstream media just can't ignore it anymore. You know, it's getting that bad. Let's see. Pro-cannabis doctor who fought against Big Pharma found dead at home, of course. Guy shows up in full Batman costume to help police in armed standoff. And of course, the police said, "Get out of here." Yeah, and it's a real full Batman costume. It's pictures up here. Okay, Americans killed since 2014 by mass shootings, 151. By terrorist attacks, 198. By police officers, 5,400 and counting. So who are the real terrorists? Let's see. U.S. citizens, in brackets here, I'm reading from this thing here. It says, citizens of the District of Columbia residing in one of the states of the Union are classified as property and franchises of the federal government as an individual entity. Yeah, it's citing a case. I gotta look into that. Anyway, elderly retired CIA analyst dragged from Senate hearing for exposing Gina Haspel's war crimes. Yeah, I guess his consciousness got to him. You know, I guess. Anyway, oops. Hang on a second. I got to close this door. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I had opened the door, get some fresh air in. So anyway, U.S. wall funding of $1.57 billion yields 1.7 miles of fence. Yeah, that wall is a stupid ass idea. I swear, man. Closing off the border just created the problems. There weren't any problems before you closed the damn border. Seriously, there just weren't any problems. I mean, well, maybe an occasional problem here and there, but really, not like this, because you're basically forcing people to choose a side when you're closing the border off. It's like, well, you're going to stay in the United States or you're going to stay in Mexico. And it causes harm, right? Because if the border was completely open, you'd have lots of people living in Mexico and coming up to the what we call the United States, I guess, to work, right? Okay, technically coming up to California, the land owns California, or Arizona, Nevada, whatever, because it's not really the United States. United States is Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, and a few assorted territories or whatever. That's the United States. Let's see. Oh, man. Ingredients found in razor moisture strips linked to allergies, cancer, and organ toxicity. So I want to check that out. And I think it's about time for me to end this show. Seriously. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and end it. Everyone have a good night. And I do apologize. It's not like my really best show ever or anything. I'm just sick. So anyway, yeah, everyone have a good night. Bye. Yes, and stop broadcast.